Oh, hello. I'm back for more of my licensed game shenanigans, continuing my look at the games of Mighty Max. Now, Mighty Max was a toy line from a company called Bluebird Toys, I believe, in the early 90s. It started in the UK, then it blew up enough that it kind of spread around the world. And this toy line was really popular. And it involved, actually I can show you right here, it involved having these little compacts, I guess you'd call them, little hinged playsets that you could open up. And inside, you'd have little characters. Like, you'd have the titular Max, you'd have monsters, you'd have mad scientists, and then there'd be a little environment in which you could play with these toys, if you were into this sort of thing. And this toy line blew up. Again, it got a TV show, it got a video game, and it got these LCD handhelds, including the one you see up above, and which I have right here. It's a little hinged LCD electronic game. The tiniest screen you can imagine. Let's just go ahead and pop that on the screen here to get a little closer look. But yes, it's a tiny little screen. It runs on like a calculator battery, like a tiny little pill battery. I don't know. Well, you can imagine it. It's just imagine a little tiny pill. Now that's the battery that powers this thing. And again, the game's complexity and the size of this tiny screen kind of match how much power it needs. It doesn't need much power to run at all. So yeah, there was released in Europe by a company called Systema. Here, the one I have is from a company called Irwin. Is that going to come through? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, which I think is a Canadian distributor. So in Europe, it was Systema. In Canada, it was Irwin. I guess maybe North America in general. But yeah, we're looking at this LCD handheld. This released before the animated show blew up or happened at all, which is why the art you see here doesn't match most of the other art you see for any promotional materials. Almost every other piece of media used designs and art from the show, because that's what became popular. But yeah, this predates that apparently, because they're using art that doesn't match any of that. So you can see here, little chubbier Max, a little huskier, running away from this Frankenstein here. But yeah, there's the look at the handheld itself. Now let's go ahead and fire up some gameplay that I recorded. So it's a very simple game. Now, I don't have the manual for this. I only was able to get the handheld without the manual, but yeah, it involves the player as Max on the left there. You can move around in the environment, and I'm pressing the directional, you can't see here, but I'm pressing the D-pad to move around. And I think the objective is to shoot Frankenstein. So you can see there's villains. Maybe it's more than Frankenstein, actually. But to me, it looks like it's all Frankenstein. But, 1 second. Let me make sure. Yeah, just making sure we're still recording. But yeah, you shoot Frankenstein, you dodge what looks like shackles being thrown by the mad scientist villain guy. And in case it's not clear, this is based, because it released when the toys were the source material, this is directly based on one of the toys, which I'll show off in a bit more detail momentarily. But yeah, as you can see here, again, very simple game. 3 hits and it's game over. So right now, this is me as the player trying to dodge the shackles to not get hit, and trying to shoot Frankenstein while dodging stuff. So there's a safe spot on the left where you can just kind of hang out and just pop out, shoot Frankenstein on the left, hide again. All right, well, that's game over. Because I don't have the manual, I'm not clear on if there's an ending state or if this goes on forever. Given the simplicity, I would guess it goes on forever. It looks like I tried one more time here after that game over. So let's see where this ends. Oh, I'm getting beat up pretty quickly. It is a tough game. I tried playing it on camera. It's tough to play. I tried playing off camera, and it was still really difficult. So yeah, it's just a challenging game. I couldn't really make too much progress in there. Oh, that's the end of that video. But we have one more video, I believe. Here we go. Just a bit more showing off the details of it. You can see there some of the. It's in attract mode, I guess, just kind of playing on its own. A little more close up of the playset, or the game. Again, Mighty Max escapes from Skull Dungeon, I believe, is the name of the toy, and thus this LCD handheld based on that toy. And again, I have the Canadian one, so it's from Irwin. And it's a pretty neat, I guess it's neat. I found it really difficult to get. I couldn't get into it, so that was not a full playthrough, obviously. But there's that. And again, like I said, this is based on a toy, which I happened to buy because I thought it would be a neat artifact. Of looking at Mighty Max, you know, if you're going to look at the thing, you might as well have an example of the source, which in this case, the source material for Mighty Max is the toys. So there you go. But yeah, you can see here, this is what they call the Doom Zones. They had different models or categories of toy that scale up to get bigger and scale down to get smaller. This is the Doom Zone model of toy, and this is the most common one, apparently. And you can see there some of the details. Again, 3 different figures, which get lost very easily. If you look for Mighty Max toys online or on eBay, most of them, at least the ones on the lower end of cost, will be missing something. A figure, one of the pieces of the environment, you know, something will be missing from the whole thing. So, yeah, it's tough. I definitely paid more than what this cost at retail when I bought this particular one. Max with the blue hat, that's again very pre-show. By the time the show released, they'd standardized the design of all the characters, so his hat becomes red later on. But yeah, there you go, showing off some of the stuff you can do in there. I didn't mention yet, but this is based on a toy line called Polly Pocket from the same company, Bluebird. Basically, you know, makeup compacts, the hinged devices that open up and there's makeup in the mirror. They took that idea and made a toy line for girls, I guess, featuring little girl characters in these playsets that you open up. And it was so popular that Bluebird obviously decided, like, okay, well, we can make more money if we market this idea to boys as well. So here I continued with a bit more detail because I realized I'd missed some of the cool stuff, like the hinges and the table moves up and you can remove those like pylons or electric generators or whatever they are. I didn't do it in this video, but that little red handle there also moves up and down. And it's interesting because I heard a podcast. There's a podcast called What a Cartoon. They watched the Mighty Max show and they talk about how this basically was like a Game Boy. It was a little handheld piece of entertainment that you could carry with you, maybe not in your pocket, but in your backpack. And how once maybe this died because eventually this had to compete with something like Game Boy, which there's no comparison, right? In terms of having a little world in your pocket that you could play with, a Game Boy game is just more interactive than a toy like this. Actually, I won't speak for everyone. I'm sure some kids would prefer this over a Game Boy game, but yeah, this toy line I think was gone by like early '95. I don't know if they made it past 1994, which is also when the TV show ended. So I think '94 was kind of the peak of Mighty Max. But yeah, there's that. Here this is really tough. I've searched for a while for these handhelds. And these 2 photos that I'll link to, all these things that are not mine, I'll link to in the description so you can see all the source for all these things. But these are not my photos, and this is the only known imagery of this game in packaging. I was trying to find it with packaging, with the manual. Again, I really want the manual for these things because sometimes it's not clear what the game wants you to do. But I couldn't find it. I would have purchased it if I could find it, but I didn't. So. But here's some examples of what it looks like when it's in the packaging. Again, that skull icon is just exactly what the toy looks like. So pretty direct basis for that, which is what the TV show is like too. The TV show is like each episode is just based on one of these toys. So again, it was all built into the toy design to lift those ideas and put them into other formats. But that's not the end of the story. So this handheld got released in '93. Okay. But then there was this. Again, same form factor, same, clamshell design and everything. Same company, Systema. But again, these are photos I found online of a game called Mighty Max Conquers the Temple of Venom, I believe. And these photos are the only evidence I've found that this game exists. I've not seen it on eBay. I've not seen any other photos of this game. No videos of this game. And it's based on a toy. So this handheld, which we can maybe kind of guess at the gameplay based on the toy itself. But yeah, so there's a toy, and yeah, again, it does those photos I showed you. That's all the evidence that the game existed. So they were trying more of this, I guess. After this first purple game, they were trying this new one with the snake theme, but I couldn't buy it, so I can't show off any gameplay of it. But yeah, at the very least, thanks to somebody who posted these online, we have photo evidence that this was a thing that happened. So there's that. And what's left to point out? I already showed you what the Venom playset looks like. I guess the game would have been like you're dodging the mummy and the scorpion, because those are the two main enemies that I see in this thing. So like, yeah, dodging a mummy, a scorpion, maybe something else like inside that coffin. Hard to tell. Some bugs maybe. It looks like there's some creepy things on the bottom, but anyway, yeah, that would have been that game. And this is one final interesting bit of info that I found, which is that this is like many of these LCD handhelds, the form factor is common. It gets used across a lot of different games. So we can only assume that there was just a shadow company behind all of this that would shop this out to IP owners. They would say, "Hey, Mighty Max owners, do you want to put your IP on an LCD handheld? We already have the system for it." Actually, you know what? I'll take it back. This is different. This is dual screen. The other ones we looked at are not. No, not that one. There it is. Yeah, these are not dual screen. It's only one screen on the bottom, blank on the top. But yeah, I just found this interesting. There are other games with this form factor. So clearly there's a company behind all of these things. Because Tandy, totally unrelated company, Systema, I think. So yeah. More examples of this form factor in LCD handhelds. All right, well, I think that is it. We'll go out on some gameplay. But that's it. Thanks for watching this video about this random LCD handheld based on Mighty Max. There's yet another one of these by a different company, which it's always intriguing to me when a license gets shopped around like this. Different companies interpreting the license in their own way. So yeah, I think it's neat that there's so many different versions of it, but also just that there are other games besides just the video game that was on SNES and Genesis. There's a few more versions of this out there. So yeah, I appreciate all of it. But that's it for this video. Till the next one and whatever else I do, that's it for now. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.